Okay.
Scotch sailor, what do you expect?
Right, you're gonna sail far with cancer.
That's true. Right.
Okay.
We're recording?
Yep, we are on.
Okay, so what have we got? What's your list?
Oh, I got some interesting angles to look at impact crystals from.
Yep.
I feel like that's developing quite soundly, and I
I
got
saw that thing you sent over from our previous friend.
yep.
Quite interesting, actually. He's yeah, I've got a few things to say about that. But
Yeah, I think
yeah,
a lot of people will have a lot to say about the concept of impact crystals. So before we get drowned in the noise, we need a set of tools that let people make their own ones,
yeah,
as well as have a prediction market where they can settle their differences. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well, he's approached it a different way. But anyway, sorry, I'll cut you off there. What else you got?
and I got logins going. Well, I got the architecture implemented in test format for logins going with GitHub.
Yep.
I am missing a feature in the blockchain that allows me to merge an old session with a new one. So
Wouldn't that be just we get a bot to take those two sessions, show diffs, original, new, or branch and branch, and
not
then
merged together. I mean merge identities. So if you come
oh,
in
all right, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
and then you should have your old ones come over. So I'm gonna get all the tests passing and get the web app back up, but without that, bringing your old sessions with you. So and then I'll just get you up and running, and then take the time it needs to get the session merging going.
Yeah, ideal. Presumably, the session could be added as a retrieval doc anyway, and I can prompt it appropriately. It's just anything
We don't
stops.
have that feature, but that's pretty straightforward and doesn't impact the architecture of
Yeah.
the blockchain at all. I've started using branches as not just a multiprocessor method, but also as a security isolation mechanism. So, for example, when you sign in GitHub, I start a new branch that represents your signed in session, and then I use that as a permissions boundary where no one else can see inside that branch unless they've got the rights to do so. So, the branching model is really good. Like, it's really good, and that ability to isolate as well as multi-thread means you can take a huge load, but also the security model is simpler than trying to do files in a shared repo and then permissions per file. It's just
Yeah.
branch permissions is much simpler.
Yeah, no, I like the way this is going. It matches. I mean, there's two schools of thought. My school of thought is you should reduce down um, each bot, what they can see and what they're being asked to, and you chain them. There's others that you just say, well, we'll throw the works of Shakespeare at it and let it figure out.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
think
that.
the last one you said there, throw everything at it. That's the job of the model builders. That's the
Yeah,
job of the model users is to narrow down what the bot's being asked.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
So
it
that's
works
where
pretty
we're
well.
at. It's honestly it's starting to grind on a bit. Like I'm starting to feel a bit worn down by it because it's just the amount of detail work required just to get this identity thing up. So I'm finding it hard at the moment, but I am continuing with it
Okay, good.
and
Well,
still making
I
progress.
I will be very appreciative and get out of copy and paste world.
Yeah, I know. So I'm just I'm building up features that I owe or need to do. Let's call it properly, but I'm putting them aside for the purposes of being able to get us up and running as quickly as we damn can.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, so Thanks for that update. So crystals we can talk about. We don't have that much time. I
Mm.
would like to follow up one of your comments about the structure of the scheme. I'd love your thoughts on that.
Yeah, yeah. So
Uh,
let's get that
yeah, because
stable.
that's a starter for 10 on my case. It's actually seems to be pretty well behaved. Shall I share?
Yep.
Share. Okay, that's my latest one. It's off doing stuff in the background at the moment.
Okay. So what's the scheme?
So, a scheme is probably not the right name for it because it keeps on thinking scheme actually means schema. So I'll probably change that. But what I want to do is to put in the intent and then the JSON schema. And the results I'm getting are really quite good, I think.
What's
Versus
the JSON schema for?
for any particular part. For example, location. Um, it's
So what
stuff
you've
you'd
done is you've
expect in a schema.
intermingled what the intelligence is about
Yeah,
the
yeah,
schema and the rules around it, and then you've provided a schema that says what the format is,
correct,
right?
correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
so is there a better way? So are you expecting the bot to come back with JSON, or are you expecting it to come back with natural language?
It remembers stuff in JSON, but it comes back in natural language, answering your
It
specific
remembers
question.
stuff in JSON. Tell me about that. How does that work?
So, for example, if we're to update, in this case, a location, it knows that here is the example of what we mean by a location.
Right.
Here's all the musks, etc. And then the live data will have actual locations in this, and every time it deals with the live data, it refers back to these constraints to say, okay, there's only so much you can do with this data in order to maintain coherency.
So you're feeding it this scheme plus the schema plus the JSON instance of the stored
Yeah,
data, right?
correct. Yep, yep. Saying, for example,
And
given
this is
the
your preferred method.
it's a start for 10.
Well,
Surely could be
it's the
improved.
best. It's
However,
the best
it
mix
seems
you've
to be
found so far, right?
yeah, and it seems to maintain coherency. That's the important thing because as a separate task, what I've been doing, oh, well, this is what this is doing at the moment. You can run these schemes as a group and ask how to check for any incoherency, differences in definitions. So we've got definitions being updated every time there's a new thing added. So, for example, the user decides that the color of your door is important,
Oh, so
then
you've instead of storing all the business rules in one place for the whole app, you've stored the business rules with the collection of data, with the data collection.
right, yeah. And to start with, I had it all in one place, but that was getting some weirdness because
All
you
right, so
couldn't
you've got
constrain it enough. So,
yeah, right, because it's distant, right? Like
right,
right.
yeah,
Okay, so can you go back to the oh no, scroll down for me. Can you get rid of your terminal so I can see more? Press Control
sure.
J,
Yeah,
Control. Oh, yeah,
yeah.
okay, fine. Okay, so what are the headings? You've got actors, actions, and what?
Well, it's usually definitions. So, concept, actors, actions, inputs, and outputs. But I never wrote any of that. What I've been asking is
Okay.
test, um,
I'm just trying to
kind of.
think of the nicest way to arrange that on disk because, in terms of getting the LLM to rewrite things, like if I ask it to update a scheme, it's going to struggle more than if I split the natural language rules of the scheme from the JSON schema, because I can get it to update the JSON schema, and I can throw an error whenever it's giving me badly formatted or invalid schema, whereas it's hard to do that in the pure text file.
You mean doing it by an isolate as opposed to an LM, or
No, like splitting out these natural language. So can you go back to driver scheme?
Sure.
And then if you split out the schema into a separate file and then get the LLM to work on it that way, I can attach a piece of code that ensures that the schema is always valid schema.
I could give that a go. Well, let's see.
So the way I'm imagining.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, the reason I've got this at the moment, and I've not tried it separating out like that. I've only tried it as a big lump. But my kind of working hypothesis is that closely coupling the intent to the schema.
Right. But I can make it so that they get retrieved as though they were one file, so they can get.
Oh, right. You can concatenate the two. Yeah.
It's just so the format I'm thinking about on disk is something like all of the JSON objects that hold the customer data would be, one. They'd all be named by like customer ID or some other unique identifying, the primary ID basically of the data. And then you'd have all these dot files, like you'd say dot scheme dot md, and that would have these natural language rules. And then you'd have dot schema, which would have the JSON schema for it. And so in that way, you'd adopt a pattern that each folder represents an encapsulated bundle or collection of data, and then
that's worth a test, isn't it? You just doubled my load of cutting and pasting, but
okay, sorry. Well, then don't change for me. I'm just letting you know what I'm thinking, so that you can maybe you got some opinions on how the bot behaves.
Yeah, if at runtime, if say the intent was split from the schema, say take driver scheme. Okay, so now that's driver scheme folder, inside of which is intent and schema. At runtime, if those two were concatenated so that when it goes into the vector database, it knows that those are closely linked. So because and this was what I alluded to earlier on, if I put in intents, it doesn't know what these intents differ between schemes. So for example, overall intent for drivers here is different from the overall intent for an event log. And it gets confused because I've called it overall intent, and which one do you mean? So so long as it's closely coupled in terms of retrieval, concatenate, upload, and you can upload a number of these and it doesn't get confused, then that's absolutely fine. In the background, so long as that pre-processing step is done, absolutely can split those out. I see no problem with that.
Okay. So you're in traceable at 7 bots. How sessions, mate? You do love a good nesting, don't you?
I love nesting. You know I love nesting. It's God's own way of dealing with information.
God doesn't really nest that much, buddy. God seems like God's natural way is flat. So I don't know.
Yeah, God's a dick.
Alright, and you were in definitions and drive scheme.
Okay, so if Ultimately, when well, not ultimately, soon when we switch, um, I don't see any problem with uh, just a strong link between the intent for the scheme and the schema that the intent talks
Yeah,
about. As long
yeah.
as we get that uploaded as one kind of atom of stuff to consider, then we shouldn't lose the effect of those constraints on what the bot does.
All right. So just to be clear, the scheme includes RFC style specification of purpose,
Yep.
what the intent of the scheme is,
Yep.
and also includes a schema to describe the structure of the data. Now, why did you choose to use JSON as the data format?
Because of results.
Are your results
Well,
better
certainly,
when you use
yeah.
JSON instead
It
of?
just gets it. Yeah, it just gets it because
Do you
it honors these field names.
do you
Um,
feel like it understands JSON inherently better than Markdown, or do you think that if you were using Markdown where you had the field names as simply headings in Markdown, do you expect you'd get a similar result, or is there something about JSON that makes it
there's
understand it as data?
Now I don't have metrics around this, but when I've been working, once you put it into schema, it doesn't fuck with the schema.
Ah,
Whereas
so it's
Markdown,
almost as though
you
there's an
kind of need it.
inherent training
Yeah,
property of the LLM that says that it never tries to mess with schema, it tries to comply, but when it's given plain text, it thinks it can do whatever it
then it's got
wants.
more leeway. Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
all right. Okay, so that changes things a little bit for me.
Would Markdown be preferable on your part?
I'm just thinking about how to present it, that's all. My preference is data correctness followed by presentation. I had imagined that if it was all stored as Markdown, then we can just present the Markdown raw and that's nice and easy. However, being able to present it as JSON and I'll like stream out a Markdown translation of the JSON, that's
Mm-hmm.
all good too, I think. Or I can make like a viewer of some kind that shows it.
Well, that sounds like something a bot could easily do, given a schema and the definitions and an instance.
Right, so we
Get
could
that
have
up
a data
much
structure under
much.
the hood and then just
Yeah,
generate Markdown views of it.
yeah. That
Yeah.
seems to be reasonable.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
But I hear what you're saying that the JSON format is much stronger than Markdown. It's almost as though the machine knows it's dealing with data.
yeah, yeah.
All
I don't know
right.
whether that's been on their part
No, it's pretty baked in there,
specifically
eh? Like
done.
it's pretty heavily baked in, and there's also the reason for my question about splitting is that there's also a model flag that you can raise when you make a call that explicitly requires JSON output. So that
Mm-hmm.
that it will for sure output valid JSON if you hit that flag when you call the API. So that's an even stronger indication that JSON is the way to go for us.
Okay, all right, good. And the other thing, just to note, is well, this is one of my stucks. Is come up with not many. We can talk about the form of the stucks, but at the moment I'm just doing observations. Um, Consistency is a constant fucking battle. And if you ask it to make a number of JSON files consistent between them, just does it perfect every time. If you try and make it to get consistency around intent, and I threw in a couple things that were inconsistent here just to test it,
Mm.
it goes off wild rumpus
So
mode.
is it then possibly necessary to make the intent be in a JSON format as well, so that there can be a schema?
That would be. Why didn't I think of that? Of course, yeah. So that would be a single schema that includes the intent.
A schema for what intent can be. And then
because all these are, natural language.
and I think
effectively reverse tests, aren't they?
that's right. Now, where in this scheme is the permissions as to what actor can do what within this collection?
Roles and responsibilities.
Where?
It's up on the screen.
What?
Now this is the soft.
No. I mean for the driver scheme, like. Shouldn't the scheme for each collection define or be able to define the permissions?
I've split it out. I can merge
The closer you put it, because I believe that permissions is business logic. It was only split out for the convenience of the programmers. Screw the programmers. Okay. Screw the programmers. Yeah. They're dead. We just want the business rules to be contained in a standard, concise format that's acceptable to both human and machine. And
okay, so
yeah,
right, I get that.
Okay.
So if we were to take this roles and responsibilities, which is updated every time the user wants to do something new, then, for example, at the moment, duty manager can change roles and responsibilities, but it can impose a new role or responsibility or a responsibility on the customer agent, for example. So that's like the super user, effectively. Now, then what would probably be the best thing to do is we have a scheme for each of the users. So that is relatively
user types or user instance.
User types. So duty manager, customer agent, customer.
Right. Okay. Is there can we come up with a better name than scheme, or at least a different name than scheme? Because it sounds like the bots are tripping over scheme.
Yeah.
I'm tripping over it too, because schema and scheme are not sufficiently distant.
It mistakes those two. So yes, structure.
I'm starting to love this game. Let me. I'm starting to really get good mileage out of the name game played with GPT.
Okay, all right. Do you want to take over the screen?
Yeah, I got it.
There you go. Yeah, because I'm shit at names.
Everyone is.
Well, I'm lazy at names. Probably no more shit than anyone else, but I'm lazy at it.
Something went wrong.
I'm getting it. So over the last couple of days, this has been running like a dog for me. Don't have the same down for you, but we're talking.
They changed their fucking domain as well. Christ almighty, guys.
Yeah, like, if you do anything interesting, for example, that job that I sent off before we started this is still running. It's like, fucking hell.
What the fuck is going on? Their system's broken.
I think they take down regions because last time my region was broken and yours wasn't. You got to imagine that somewhere there's a whole fucking army of guys unboxing servers and racking them up as fast as they can.
This is goddamn ridiculous. Okay, so I'm not playing the name game then. Oh no, here we go.
Oh yeah, all right.
Playground, chat, GPT. Oh, come on. 4 turbo.
Just while it's doing that, mention dispatches. Quite an awesome piece of magic. Geospy.ai. Take a photo of anywhere on Earth, and it will give you your location to, as far as I can see, roughly within 100 miles. Sometimes it gets within 15 miles, sometimes a lot closer. It is really cool. Let me show you. I've got one up.
Okay.
This is a complete rabbit hole, but it's really cool. Right, you recognize that? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that. Where's. Why can't I scroll? Oh, fuck it. Was it the previous one? Yeah, bollocks. Yeah. It's not worth it. It's just going to take up time. But I stuck up that photo, and it came up with not only the correct village, but the correct time of year. Well, it came up with a village that was very close, and I can see where it went wrong. But with one photo, it got within 40 miles, given the entire surface of the Earth.
It's pretty
It
good.
was one of these. Fuck, man. I'm never putting a photo up on social media ever again.
Too late.
I've done it for 10 years. No, I've not done it for 10 years. But it's really powerful. These guys are going to make a lot of
The
money.
name game is not going so well.
Do you want me to see on this side?
I mean, it's working, but it's just not, the results are not good. Spec schema hybrid, JSON spec format, spec defined JSON, structured spec, schema narrative type.
Well, let me stick it into how, see if we can get how to do it.
We called them helps. We could just call it a format. The template. I think of template when I see that thing.
Yeah, that's. I like the name game. I know this is a bit of a rabbit hole, but still. Let's create a new how.
I'll just call it, yeah.
Yeah, where's how? My latest how is actually doing a really good job. There he is. Okay. I will now give you a number of files.
What about spec template?
Currently called schemes. However, that's too close to schema.
A struct.
10 alternatives. Alternative names. Right, now get this file search up.
Oh, a pattern.
Oh, quite like a pattern. Let's see what it does.
A blueprint.
Quite like a pattern. Pattern's quite over-indexed though, isn't it?
A blueprint.
Blueprint is less over-indexed.
Template's good though. A collection template. A collection template is what I would call it personally.
Oh, it's close enough. You didn't need them all. Oh,
Yeah, I'd call it. I gotta go in like 5 minutes. I'd call it a collection template, is what I would do.
Let's see what it says.
No love for you. You didn't upload the file.
I did. I totally did.
I don't have.
Yes, you do. Try harder.
You didn't give it the file.
I give it. Oh, look, it's got a file. It's got a file, man.
No.
All right. Okay, you only got 5 minutes. So, let's go with template.
Collection template.
Collection template.
Yeah. Or I guess
Okay.
a template is a.
What does collection add to that?
Because
Collection.
it's a
template.
special case where it's defining a collection of data. Because that's really what you're trying to use it for, is a collection.
Okay, let's go for collection template. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. All right.
And
anything's better than scheme, but all right. So what else have we got? We got. That's how we define collections.
Yeah. The other thing is we're not going to have time to do this because this is going to blow me out from 2 hours from now. But where is it? Where's my stucks? Format for a stuck. I'm going to propose something in there, but at the moment this is just basically a win sheet. It's like, I can't do that. This is bad.
Oh, this is good. Hey, no, this is good, man. Can you put that in a... Oh, you've got it. Yeah, okay. That's really good. This is what I need. This is what I need. More of this. This is what I need.
Yeah. Is this... this is inconsistent being stuck. This is really messy. These are just my list of frustrations, really. It's like, I can't do this.
That's what I need. That's what I need.
It's not a problem. Okay, right. Okay, I'll keep adding these.
Keep doing that.
Yeah. And the other thing we'll talk about next time, which is bugs as well. Or okay, so there's some things that when I'm talking in this last session, it was just not getting, but it was kind of getting it, but I needed to pistol whip it a bit. Not that one. Needed to pistol whip it in order to get it. So it's not that it doesn't get it. It's just like it's just irritating that it didn't get it faster. So I don't know where that's a stuck because it doesn't involve a new thing. It involves an improvement of an old thing.
That's still a stuck. The all things are. There's no such thing as a new thing.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I'll keep on doing the messy version.
That's great. That's absolutely great.
That. So for
like that helps me immensely because I'm not privy to all the things. It's hard for me to figure out what you were trying to do just by looking at the end result.
Oh, it's almost impossible because
you
got screeds of stuff coming through
so
as well.
Giving me this is really useful. So it helps me understand what you wanted, and also gives me a chance to think about the issues you're having to see if I might have stumbled across something that can help you, or how to do something in platform land that can sort you out.
Yeah, cool. Okay, well, I'll keep on with this messy stucks. I'll keep on building that. On the collection templates, I'll merge the MD into JSON for the next run.
You don't need you do whatever you need to do to make cut and paste less painful. I was just checking that I understood what the purpose of the collection template was, so that I can plan for that appropriately. because there's going to be.
Oh, that's not a problem. That's just a translation. I'll just stick this into HAL and say, um, you know, translate this into JSON and stick it into this JSON.
Right. Okay.
It'll be, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes kind of thing.
All right.
And if we go down that route, we may as well see if it works. All right.
Okay, so we got the collection items in the database are all going to be stored as JSON.
Yep.
The ultimately the collection template rules, the business rules, are going to be stored inside JSON. Based on
the rules being roles and responsibilities, essentially.
No, the must, could, should, must not.
Oh, right. Yes.
That's going to be JSON. So basically, everything's going to be JSON. That gets everything that represents instructions into the system is going to be JSON. Correct?
Yes. And I'm going to create a new collection template for each of the actors, instead of having one scheme as we've got it at the moment, which includes all the roles and responsibilities. So I'm going to split those out. Is that right?
So roles and responsibilities will be defined per collection as opposed to system-wide, yeah?
No, what I was thinking about, for example, duty manager can have an effect on driver, events, location.
Right.
Everyone has, and so what I was suggesting, if I understood you right, is there would be 3 additional templates here, one for duty manager, one for customer agent, one for customer.
Oh no, that wasn't what I was meaning. I was just meaning that what the different roles can do within a collection should be specified within that collection.
Oh, I see. So I can keep the roles, remove the responsibilities, and responsibilities go inside.
Yeah. So like roles should be like at the at the top level, like you've got it, but the responsibility should be per collection.
I'll probably move the roles to definitions, actually.
Right, and it just seems like that's a better place for it, so that we can let the LLM also do the permission management as well in one shot, maybe.
I think that sounds right, because it's going to have a closer coupling to the thing that is changing.
It feels right to store, because it's business rules. Like, we gotta not think about old school ways of doing things. Permissions was made separate to program logic because of programming constraints.
All right, so that's how we'll do it then. So just to run through that to make sure I don't go off and on. In the definitions, I'll define what the roles are.
Yeah.
Then inside of each of these templates, I'll define as part of the schema which role can do what on this schema.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see how far that goes, because there's
those roles would also follow that RFC format, right? Because there's like must not, should not, because the rules can be much softer here. Like it can sort of say, hey, you're not supposed to be doing that, but it can reason through it.
You can break the rules.
Bend them. It can bend them. It's like, well, that's, if it's must not, it's like, sorry, mate. But if it should not, you're like, well, you shouldn't really, but I see what you're trying to do, so let me.
Exactly. A customer agent could just go ahead and say yes to a customer without referring up to the duty manager.
So long as it's more human, a humanistic way to set rules in a system, in natural language as well. So, and close to the data, I think, is the key.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Let's give it a whirl.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah. So, one more thing, I would set those roles as being generic names first, because inside the collection at the top level is where you'd say a duty manager is a customer record updating agent, a product updating agent, like if there's like a standard of standard.
You mean like something like this? A driver is an individual responsible for operating a
Yeah,
truck.
but
That kind of thing.
at the top level of the CRM is where you'd say that a driver is, not it's a customer reader, not a customer writer. And so that
Oh,
inside
right.
the collection you can have standard names, which means that, we might employ this CRM in places where there aren't drivers. It's a different kind of thing. But inside the customer collection, there's a set of these are the roles that the customer collection understands and is tested for. And at the top of the system, you map your company specific roles to generic roles based on the modules you pulled in,
Oh, I see. Okay.
right?
So, for example, you could, if, say there's a hierarchy, you could have
Yeah,
tier one, tier two, tier three, and then you map tier one to, you
sort
know,
of like that, but more humanistic because there's like every CRM has a banker or someone in charge of money. They have a
right,
someone who's a customer service rep who can modify the things. They've got a worker, someone whose job is not to modify the customer records. Their job is just to do
right.
things.
So it's like a doer,
Yeah,
or a talker,
depending on
or a planner.
and then
Yeah,
inside like the routing module, there's a route planner, there's a there's people who can there's a driver, there's different roles that are specific to the module, and so that it should be treated as a standalone thing with its own definition of roles, and then when you combine them into a bigger system, that's where you
okay,
bundle up roles
all
together,
right,
because that means that we can test these units in isolation without getting tangled up with, like what is the testing of the customer collection have to do with driving a truck? Like nothing really. And
right,
so
yeah, yeah,
testing the roles and behaviors of the customer module in isolation is
yeah.
perfect. Is
Yeah, 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 I get it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, good,
yeah.
good.
Okay, sweet.
All right.
All right, I'll message you when I'm back, but I expect you'll be busy.
Yeah. Well, after roughly 1 hour and 40 minutes from now, I'm absolutely promised to be,
Okay, buddy.
elsewhere.
All right,
All right.
I'll speak later.
Okay. See you, man.
Bye.